got to take this state by storm. Get rid of this stupid new norm. This stupid new norm. We got to step up and bring the heat. The Democratic liberal progressives is who we've got to be. Got to be. We're at the federal level, so we've got to do it at the state. Yeah, the state's next. We are Californians for change.
Hey everybody, this is Clark Stewart with Californians for Change, and I'm glad you joined me because this is the second interview that I've done with Sheriff Chad Bianco, and we were blessed to be able to get some time with him, ask him some questions, ask him the questions that you came up with, and I believe we answered all that. And this interview will also reveal the character of the man, which I believe is totally awesome. And this is who we need for the governor's seat in California. He walks in integrity, honesty, and takes responsibility for his own actions. And these are attributes we don't hear about too much in this day and age. So watch the video, keep an open mind, be willing and humble to receive what he has to say, and I'll be right back. I'd like to bring in Sheriff Chad Bianco. How you doing?
Very good. How are you?
Oh, pretty awesome. Thank you. What I'd like to do is I'd like to start this interview with a foundation. I don't know how many people actually have gone to your website and gone under the tab Meet Chad, because I believe this is really important for a person's character to reveal that, because I've been running into people that basically, like you said in the last interview, are so pig-headed, they're just going to believe what they want to believe. And so that's why I want to set this foundation so that we can, or people can really see what's going on here. And what I like to do is I'd like to start off how you were born in Ogden, Utah, at Hill Air Force Base, and you're the eldest of three boys. And you were raised by hardworking parents, and which instilled the values of integrity, perseverance, and personal responsibility, which we don't hear very much today about personal responsibility. And these principles shaped your belief that respect is earned through actions, character, and commitment to service. And I love that. And that's where I really want to start, because I'd like to hear from you how your Christian faith has actually molded you through the years and has actually influenced your decisions in the past, present, and in the future for the governor's seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I mean, that's a fantastic way to start. And it's unfortunately how you led into it. My mind was turning about, what we're seeing here and what we're unfortunately living through and have to deal with. And quite honestly, it's what is completely surrounding us is all of the media that we are taking in. You don't know what to believe. And to be quite honest with you, especially in my line of work, I believe none of it. Because every single, whether you're a Republican and watch Fox, you're not getting the whole truth. If you're a Democrat and you're watching MSNBC, you're not getting the whole truth. They manipulate to incite you, to get you behind them and to rally you against the other side. And this divide that we have truly is what's wrong with America. It's what's wrong with California. And for me right now, I knew what to expect. I know what to expect from the Democrat Party as we move forward, because I've been through a very, very long and hard, two of them, campaigns that were truly based on lies. They were based on emotions. They were based on an agenda that was meant to alienate the listeners from my candidacy. And unfortunately, that's what we're having now. And it's good that I talk about this, and I try and do it everywhere I go, especially in speaking events, but you don't get to reach everyone. And when you have, for me, unfortunately, people in the Republican Party who are paying to spread bad information because the other candidates know that I'm the person to beat and they absolutely cannot compete with my resume, they have to try and destroy my resume. And the beauty of how I was raised and what you're talking about is the truth always prevails. You always stick to the truth and rely on the truth. And they can lie, misrepresent anything that they want, but the truth is the truth. And in the end, that's all that matters to me. And the people that don't want to investigate, that don't want to believe, that don't want to see it, that are easily manipulated by a friend that just told them a story that when you really think about it doesn't even make sense, and yet they believe it. That's why we're in this position, not only in California but the country. So yeah, me growing up, I was very blessed with a fantastic family environment. I had two sets of grandparents that were amazing. My mom and dad obviously were fantastic parents. They were extremely young, and I think that made a difference in how I was raised because I think they were trying to figure it out along the way instead of having a preconceived notion of how to do it. And they were basically, they just felt like they had to raise us the right way. And it wasn't the way someone told them to raise us or anything like that. My mom had three kids before she was 21. My dad, right after I was born, got shipped off to Vietnam for 2 years. So our upbringing was a combination, me and my brothers, was a combination of my mom and dad, my two sets of grandparents, and some great aunts, a great aunt. And we were blessed. We were raised with values. We were raised with integrity. We were raised. My dad, the biggest thing with my dad is honesty. I was raised learning that honesty is always the best answer, and dishonesty causes you nothing but problems. And how he basically did it, and I'm not saying I didn't get in trouble, but I got in trouble for lying, not for what I did. I never got in trouble for something that I did wrong. Uh, I mean, it didn't. I mean, I wasn't a horrible kid, but I certainly did kid things.
Mhm.
And I'd get in trouble with the neighbors. I'd get in trouble with other kids. We did kid things, and I only got in trouble if I lied. If I told the truth, I knew that yes, I was going to suffer a consequence, but I learned that the lie was far worse of a consequence than just telling the truth and admitting it. And I have to tell you that that was I'm a firm believer, and I know that God is where I am today, despite the directions I wanted to go. Doors closed, doors open. Do you step through them? Do you not? Do you choose other things? And how I was raised, how I was brought up, is truly what brought me here today in the position that I am, as the leader that I am, respected as a leader by the entire nation, law enforcement. And truly, it's because of my 32 years of being in law enforcement and how I not only came up through the organization, but how I treat everyone as a leader, and my absolute demand and requirement of integrity. And that's truly, if I have to look back, I mean, I learned work ethic, and I learned how to treat others, and I learned to get along with everyone. And you don't cause enemies, you don't burn bridges, you work to make things better. I grew up in two different types of families. My mom's side of the family, my grandpa was very outdoorsish, hunting, fishing, ranching. The cowboy part of my life came from my mom's side. The business sense, and it depends on which family member you ask, but my that grandpa was either just a regular businessman or in the mafia. But it doesn't matter to me because the values are all the same. The values are about family and honesty and integrity and loyalty and taking care of everyone else and helping everyone around you. And that is how I grew up. And I grew up in, I say I had a great dad and grandpas, but in a small town, I probably had 50 grandpas. I mean, there were so many men in that town that were it was basically a town of immigrants that all immigrated to the United States to work in the coal mines. And all of those cultures and values are all the same. It was all about the work ethic. It was all about working hard. It was all about family and integrity, the things that I've already mentioned. And that was my life. That's how I grew up. I don't know any different. So then bringing that into this profession and God leading me into this path and then being successful in this path, I know it's because of how I was raised. It's a life of service. It's serving others, sometimes at the expense of myself. It is about always being honest with the people that you're dealing with. It is about having integrity. It's about the loyalty to law enforcement, loyalty to my community, loyalty to what is right and wrong. And I think that, sometimes I think it's cliche, but I think I was definitely raised to be in the position that I am in. That is why I'm successful, is how I was raised and what my beliefs are. And that truly is what's separating me in this next bid to be the governor. Because if you put all of these things on a resume, take everybody's name off, no one, no one is going to have the service, the integrity, the unparalleled, the unmatched integrity and service to community, government service, fiscal responsibility that's proven, not just me saying it, it's proven. And there's going to be no one like that. And I think that for the Democrat Party, especially a Democrat Party based on dishonesty, and then a unfortunately a Republican candidate pool that is based on ego and narcissism, and they somehow have to they all know that there's nothing in their backgrounds that elevates them above me for this campaign, so their entire campaign has to be taking me down. And it's unfortunate, but I wear it as a badge of honor. Where I am and these attacks that come at me, it's a badge of honor for me because I know I've been doing the right thing. I know I'm doing the right thing, and I know that it's resonating in California.
And that's what's really interesting too, when you said about you got in trouble for lying. Now, in our first interview, we talked about BLM, and as far as I was concerned, what you said that just settled the matter. But there were some other people that after the interview they said, "Oh, I'm going to go ahead. I want to vote for Chad Bianco." But they were going to vote for someone else. And they said, "No, we're coming over on the Bianco side." Then I heard from this person about a week later, and they said, "Well, that video for BLM, that tells it all." And I'm like, "Look, that was edited. You've got to look at the man's character and what he's
Yeah.
done. And if you said that your deputies or you didn't bow to BLM, you would be lying. And that's not in you. That's not part of your character because of what you said. I believe it 100%. I believe everything that you said 100% because that you're right. You can't be in the position that you're in and get the respect that you have if you did lie. If you were like, the Democratic liberal progressives and the lies that they've been caught in,
Yeah.
you just can't do it.
Yeah, that we have a tendency as people to be very cynical, and I will tell you that the Republican Party is the absolute worst. If you are a Republican conservative, you are the most cynical, pessimist person in the world. Typically, not everyone, but the majority, that's who they are. And what I find interesting is the people that just say, "No, he's a liar." Based on my entire existence, the fact that I cannot lie because I can be removed from my position as a law enforcement officer. If I am a proven liar, I cannot be a cop. So you have that. Then you have all of the witnesses that were there that know exactly what was happened. But yet that person that told you that, sitting at home in the security of their living room, being sent a clip that they don't know if it's real or not, that's what they believe, and they're just going to say he's a liar. To me, that means that they lie, and they don't believe that there is another person that's going to be honest. And they just that cynicism, that pessimism is just so deep that you can't believe someone. And the reality of it is they're basing their entire opinion on what my political opponents are cutting and splicing and sending out to them. If they actually cared, if they had the integrity, rather than forcing this opinion and forcing their opinion onto other people and telling other people, which I know they do, if they would investigate the whole thing, they would see the videos where the organizers on video are actually saying, "Will you guys pray? Will you pray?"
Wow.
That part got cut out, and that person that told you that, I hope they're watching. They are so lazy that they can't do their own investigation. They're just going to take someone else's word for it. That is why the Republican Party has failed for the last 40 years in California, because that is where we are. We don't take the time to investigate. We don't take the time to realize or learn what the truth is. And when something stares us right in the face, when you have me telling you what happened, when you have the absolute fact of, if that happened, none of the law enforcement officers that were surrounding me or my agency or Southern California law enforcement officers, none of them would respect me. And yet every single one of them are endorsing me to be the next governor, and I am one of the most respected law enforcement officers in the country. Those things cannot mesh together. Kneeling with BLM and being the leader of law enforcement, those two things can't happen at the same time. So one of them is not true. And the truth is what we know. I am one of the most respected leaders in law enforcement. So that means what you've been fed and told to believe is not true.
Right. And I told this person, give me the video. Let me show you exactly where things were edited, because I do a lot of editing. I do a lot of post-production work and everything. So I could tell them where this was cut, what was cut out in the whole bit. And I never received that video back from them, and I never received another word back from them. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like quite honestly, I get this all the time. There's people that I'll be in a speaking engagement, and they're coming there just for this question. And they tell me they just don't believe me. And I just tell them, I don't care. You're wrong. You're the reason why we're in this position. You go ahead and do whatever you're going to do, and then we'll have a Democrat again for a governor, and you can just and sit and be miserable for the next 4 years or 8 years, because you do not have the ability to actually reason, because you have allowed your emotions to overtake your thought. And psychologically, it is a psychological fact that if you are in an emotional state, you are not thinking rationally or reasonably, and you cannot discern between right and wrong because you're emotional, and emotional is just fight and flight. And so that's the thought process that it generates. And you are being played exactly how someone wants you to be played. We're being played right now with the immigration thing in America. The part of us, the Democrats want everyone to believe emotionally that just these poor families that have been here for 80 years are being just randomly picked up and sent back, and American citizens are being illegally held. It's all a lie. But when they tell you that, and emotionally you think, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Now you're not thinking rationally anymore. You just are thinking emotionally, and you're not going to change because of reason and fact, because you've already built that emotional response. So it's unfortunate that that person has said that. I hope they watch this. I hope they look in the mirror and realize that they're the problem. It isn't me. They are the problem in why Republicans can't win in California because that's all we do. Democrats get behind one person no matter what, and they support them to make sure they win. Republicans spend the entire election process calling every other Republican a liar. I'm better than you because you're a failure, not because of my successes, but you're horrible. And we hate these people. And then at the end of the election, that's why Republicans don't vote because our person didn't get picked. So it's like, I'm never voting for that person and I can't vote for the Democrat, so I just won't vote. And that's
Mhm.
reality. And that
Right.
is reason. That is fact. And that person that's just sitting there refusing to actually acknowledge reality and what could be fact and realize that they were played, that's what we have to combat in this in the remaining of this campaign. Because in the end, my success in law enforcement, if I lose, I'm still the sheriff of Riverside County, and I still will be the most respected law enforcement officer leader in the country, or one of the, if not the. That's not going to change. That can't happen if I'm a liar, if I'm dishonest, if I
Right.
manipulate anything other than fact and truth. I can't be that respected leader. They will not look at me and respect me as the person who I say I am. But yet these people on the outside, their entire intent is to destroy and cynicism and pessimism and work for the opposition, trying to raise other Republicans because they don't have it in their past.
Right. And that's what I like because like about you, you have the common sense approach. You also have to know this as a law enforcement officer. People, when you come into a situation and they're emotional, you've got to read the situation and you've got to understand exactly what's happening to be able to enforce the law or you know, settle disputes like domestic disputes or whatever for that situation. And that's what I like about it because you have to know this stuff. This isn't stuff that you just dream up or you just pick out of hat. This is stuff that you actually know. And that's what I want people to understand that you have that common sense approach and you want to do uh, you want to run for California governor's seat for California and Californians and what's best for everybody. And that's what I like about your approach because you're not singling anybody out and saying, "Oh, no, no," but you're actually taking in information and you're taking the common sense approach to come up with solutions and to come up with things that's going to benefit everybody and not just a few like special interest groups or anybody like that. And that's what I
Yeah.
really like about your approach.
Yeah, my daughter bought me a shirt, and this is truly my kids growing up and what I believe and how I worked and everything else. But she bought me this shirt and gave it to me. And it's basically it's kind of a quasi Western shirt, like a warrior type of a shirt, but across the bottom it just says problem solver. And my entire adult life, that's all I have been is a problem solver. I get, if you watch the news, I'm labeled as right wing. I'm labeled as all of these things. The Trump MAGA right wing. That's the emotional thing that people are trying to convince you of because the Democrats want me labeled as that. That's what they think they can win with in California. The Republicans want me labeled as a liar, as I'm not the leader that I say I am, and everything's fake. The reality is reality. And the reality is, you can't deny reality. Your opinion means absolutely nothing if it's not true. And just because it's your opinion or your belief, that doesn't mean it's true. It just means that's what you believe. And the ability for 32 years of my life, and especially the position that I'm in now, never once have I made a decision that had anything to do with politics. This is about right and wrong and helping to have the safest community, Riverside County, the safest county in our state, and do everything that I can from a government perspective to provide the best service for everyone, not a party. And the problem that we are having now is it's the right and the left. And I will say, I will never deny, I cannot deny that I am a very fiscally conservative Republican. You can't get through it. I 100% believe in God. I 100% believe in family. I 100% believe in work ethic. I 100% believe that you should work hard to get everything. I 100% believe in integrity and honesty and all of those things. I 100% believe in a smaller government. I 100% believe that our Constitution is why we are the best today. That is how I make my decisions. And somehow that has made me right wing. It's asinine. It's crazy. But then the opposite, it's because I'm not far right, the far right attacks me. And I got to be honest with you, I am a right-leaning, fiscally conservative Republican. But I will tell you this, the far right is not the answer for California. The exact same way that the far left, that's been the controlling party for the last 20 years, has proven that it's not right for California. But if the far right believes that they are the answer, they're actually the problem. And the solution for California is the 80% in the middle. And the reality is you have to have that right-leaning, conservative, fiscally responsible person to rescue us from decades of far left agenda that have proven to be disastrous for California.
Oh boy.
At the same time, I 100% know that when I make this pendulum swing back, it went way too far left. And when I make it swing back the other way, I will be derelict in taking care of Californians if I let it swing so far up again. If it does, I failed as your governor. My goal will be to get it back to the bottom and then have little swings back and forth that we all can agree on that is best for all Californians instead of special interests or a party, because party is what is destroying the country.